Hi friends, welcome back to Tutors. This is the 8th part of my lecture on the class 10th chapter, Light Reflection and Refraction. So far we have been discussing about refraction at a plane surface. Now let us move on to refraction at a spherical surface. So in this module I shall be introducing before you the term lens. Then we shall be learning about two different types of lenses. And later we'll discuss some terms related to the spherical lenses. And then about the image formation in the case of each of these lenses. So let me first introduce before you the term lens. Lens is a transparent medium that is bound by two surfaces, of which at least one surface is spherical. That means a lens is a transparent medium, and this transparent medium will be bounded by two surfaces. And either one of the surfaces can be spherical or else both the surfaces can be spherical. Such a transparent medium is termed as a lens. So let me introduce before you the two different types of lenses. They are convex lens and concave lens. Convex lens and concave lens. So on the screen you can have a picture of the convex lens as well as a concave lens. So haven't you seen these lenses? In your physics laboratory you might have seen these lenses. And in magnifying glass, cameras and all, lenses are being used. So a professional cameraman can explain what are the specialities of each kind of lens that he is using. So the lenses which are used in a magnifying glass to magnify the image of the printed matter in any document or file is also being used in our day-to-day life. So we shall be discussing more on the convex and concave lenses. So convex lens. Convex lens, though it is named as convex, it is having many of the properties of concave mirror. On the other hand, concave lens, though it is termed as concave, it is having many of the properties of convex mirror. So let us see. The concave mirror was known as converging mirror, but here convex lens is known as converging lens. On the other hand, concave lens is diverging lens. So let us draw on the board a convex lens and a concave lens. A convex lens, I am drawing it on the board. This is the example for a convex lens. It does not mean that this is the only convex lens available. Convex lenses can be of different type, of which one surface should be a convex surface. That is the only condition. Either it can be like this. Here also one surface is a convex surface. Therefore, convex lens does not mean that both the surfaces should be convex. At least one of the surfaces should be convex. So in this chapter, we shall be discussing only about double convex lenses and double concave lenses. A double convex lens of this type can be simply called as a convex lens, and a double concave lens can be simply called as a concave lens. I am going to draw a concave lens. This is how we pictorically represent the convex lens and a concave lens. So what are the peculiarities of a convex lens and a concave lens? In the case of a convex lens, see the center and see the edges or ends. The convex lens is thicker at the center and thinner as we move towards the ends. Thicker at center and thinner at the ends. But a concave lens, what can you observe? It is thinner at the center, and as we move towards the ends, it becomes thicker. Hence it is thinner at center and thicker at the ends or edges. So these are the peculiarities or the differences between a convex and a concave lens. So we know that a convex lens is also known as a converging lens. What would be the reason? When a ray of light is incident on the convex lens, suppose this is a beam of light which is incident on the convex lens, after refraction from the lens, it gets focused at a point or it gets converged. This is the reason why a convex lens is also known as a converging lens. But on the other hand, when a beam of light is incident on a concave lens, after refraction, they diverge. Each of these rays diverges, and on extending these rays backward, they appear to meet at a point. So since the lens diverges a ray of light which is incident on it, after refraction, the ray diverges. Therefore, the concave lens is also known as a diverging lens. So we have learned about some definitions in case of spherical mirrors, like what pole, focus, center of curvature, radius of curvature, haven't we? So in the case of lenses also, we shall discuss about some definitions, some terms and its meanings. So first one is optical center. In the case of mirror, the midpoint of the spherical surface was known as the pole of the spherical mirror. But here, the center of the lens is known as the optical center of that lens. Suppose we are considering a convex mirror, convex lens. And let us consider a concave lens. Here, the center of the lens is known as the optical center and is denoted by the letter O. Here also, this is the center of the concave lens. This is optical center. So optical center, the property of the optical center is that when a ray of light passes through the optic center, when a ray of light is incident at the optic center, after refraction, the refracted ray passes with no deviation. It passes with no deviation. This ray will be undeviated. Similarly, here also, when a ray of light is incident at the optic center, after refraction, it passes undeviated. This is the property of the optical center and it is represented by the letter O. Now, the second term regarding the spherical mirrors is centers of curvature. Why centers of curvature? In the case of mirror, we had only center of curvature. But in the case of lens, we have two centers of curvature. That is why centers of curvature. So let me draw a convex as well as a concave lens. Here, considering the convex lens, so for simple understanding, let me make one of the surfaces blue in color. So this is a convex lens and this will be a concave lens. And this lens comprising of two spherical surfaces. Each of these spherical surfaces will be a part of a sphere. See, the blue surface will be a part of one sphere and the red surface will be a part of another sphere. The center of the sphere of which the red surface was a part of is the center of curvature of the red surface. And the center of the sphere of which the blue surface was a part of is the center of curvature of the blue surface. Let this be C1 and C2. Similarly, in the case of a concave lens, this spherical surface will be a part of blue sphere and the red spherical surface will be a part of a red sphere. The center of the blue sphere is known as the center of curvature of the blue spherical surface and the center of the red sphere is known as the center of curvature of the red spherical surface. So what is the center of curvature? The centers of curvature. Centers of curvature are the centers of the two spheres of which the two spherical surfaces of the lens is a part of. that is centers of curvature. Now moving on to the third term, that is radius of curvature. Not radius of curvature, radii of curvature. Radii is the plural of radius. So what will be radii of curvature? It is the distance between the center of curvature and the optical center. This distance will be the radius of curvature. Or what does that mean? The radii of the spheres of which the spherical surfaces were a part of are known as the radii of curvature of a convex or a concave lens. It will be having two radii of curvature. Similarly, here also this is one radius of curvature, this is another radius of curvature. Hence, a lens will be having two radii of curvature. So, the next term which I am going to introduce is principal axis. So, what is a principal axis? Nothing but the line joining the two centers of the spheres of which the spherical surfaces was a part of. Or simply the line, a straight line joining the centers of curvature is known as the principal axis. Similarly, here also the straight line that is joining the centers of curvature of a lens is known as the principal axis, and this principal axis will also pass through the optical center. Next, we shall be moving on to the fifth term, that is a principal focus. Now shall we move on to the next term, that is principal foci. Why it is foci? Foci is the plural of focus. There will be two principal foci in the case of a lens. That is why we say principal foci. So here I have drawn on the board two convex lenses as well as two concave lenses, and each one is to illustrate one principal focus. For a convex lens, there is first principal focus as well as second principal focus. Similarly, for a convex concave lens also, there is first principal focus as well as second principal focus. So for a convex lens, the principal focus is the point where the rays which are parallel to the principal axis after refraction converges. So let us consider rays of light which are parallel to the principal axis is incident on the convex lens, and after refraction the refracted rays meet at a point, converges at a point, and this point is known as the principal focus. Or else we can say there will be a point on the principal axis, the point from which when rays of light emanate or come from, when this point is the source of some rays of light which are incident on the convex lens, then after refraction, the refracted rays passes parallel to the principal axis. So these are the two foci, first principal focus and second principal focus. So principal foci in case of a concave lens, how can we define? When a ray of light is such that when a beam of light is such that it is coming and is incident at a point, concave lens, after reflection passes parallel to the principal axis. That is known as the principal focus. So the first principal focus. That means when a ray of light is coming directed to this point, then after refraction passes parallel to the principal axis. And in other words, we can say when a ray of light is incident parallel to the principal axis, then after refraction the refracted ray will be diverging. And on extending these diverged rays backward, we get a point on the principal axis, and that point is the second principal focus. So these are the two principal foci in case of a concave lens. And what about the focal length? What will be the focal length? The focal length is nothing, very simple. It is the distance between the optical center and the focus. Here also we can have focal length. Focal length. Focal length. So that is the focal length. And the seventh term, is aperture. Aperture means what? The effective diameter of the circular outline of a spherical lens is known as the aperture of the lens. So these are the 7 basic terms and its definitions related to spherical lenses. Now let us learn what are the rules that has to be followed by drawing the ray diagrams. So now we are going to see the image formation in lenses using ray diagrams. So on the board I have drawn a convex as well as a concave lens, and let us discuss the 3 rules one by one. What were the rules in case of spherical mirrors? When a ray of light is passing parallel to principal axis, after reflection passes through the focus, passing through focus, after reflection passes parallel to the principal axis. When it is passing through the center of curvature, after reflection the reflected ray retraces the path, and when it is incident obliquely on the principal axis at the pole of the spherical mirror, it gets reflected obliquely. Here we shall be discussing 3 rules. See, this is a convex lens. How can we mark the different points on the principal axis? This will be obviously the optic center, O. Now this is the principal focus. Let this principal focus be F1 and this principal focus be F2. And here also the principal foci we are denoting by F1 and F2 respectively. Now this is the center of curvature. The center of curvature will be twice this length, isn't it? So shall we represent it as 2F1? 2F1 means what? It's nothing but C1. So we are representing it as 2F1, and here we are having it as 2F2. 2F1 and 2F2. Now let us discuss the first rule. When a ray of light is incident parallel to the principal axis, after refraction, the refracted ray converges and it passes through the principal focus. First rule. And in the case of concave lens, when a ray of light is incident parallel to the principal axis, after refraction the refracted ray diverges, and on extending the diverged refracted ray backward, it appears to come from the focus. First rule. Now let us see the second rule. The rays which are passing through the principal focus, in the case of a convex lens, after refraction it will pass parallel to the principal axis. And in the case of a concave lens, when a ray of light is directed to the focus, this is the focus, and when a ray of light is directed to the focus, then after refraction the refracted ray passes parallel to the principal axis. This is the second rule. The third rule we have already discussed. Let us see. When a ray of light passes through the optical center, in the case of a convex lens, after refraction the refracted ray passes undeviated. Similarly, in the case of convex lens also, when a ray of light is incident at the optic center, then the refracted ray passes undeviated. These are the 3 rules. Now we are going to discuss about the image formation in the case of convex and concave lenses. So in the case of convex lens, we are having 6 different positions of the object, and the convex lens always forms which image, real and the inverted image, except in one case, that is a 6th exceptional case. About these things we have discussed in the case of concave mirror. Am I right? So here we are having these cases in the case of convex lens. Similarly, in the case of concave lens, we shall be having only 2 different positions of the objects, and the peculiarity is that the concave lens always forms virtual and erect image of the object. So let us discuss each case one by one. So see here, there are 6 convex lenses, 6 cases we have to discuss. Image formation by convex lens. So let us see by placing our object at each position, 6 different positions. First of all, in the first case, let us place the object at infinity. When a ray of light is coming from infinity, it comes parallel to the principal axis, and after refraction, the parallel rays passes through the focus. This is the image formation. So I shall be drawing, instead of drawing a tabular column, let me draw some bar between them. So here, object, position of image, and the nature and size of the image we shall show it here. So where is the position of the object? At infinity. Where is the position of the image? At f2. And what about the nature? The nature is real and inverted, and it is extremely diminished in size. This is the size of the image, a point size. So extremely diminished in size. The first case, where shall we place the object? Let us place it beyond 2f1. Beyond 2f1. See here, I have placed the object beyond 2f1, and two rays for convenience we have to consider. See, this is the first ray which is parallel to the principal axis, and the second ray, let it be incident at the optical center. The one which is incident parallel to the principal axis after refraction passes through the focus, and this one passes undeviated. So where is the position of the image obtained? It is between f2 and 2f2. Can you notice it? It is between f2 and 2f2. So see here, where is the position of the object? Beyond 2f1. It's almost the same as in the case of concave lens, isn't it? Concave mirror, isn't it? See, at infinity, at focus. In the case of mirror, it was like that. Beyond C, between C and F. Haven't you noticed that? So here, beyond 2f1 means between f2 and 2f2. Between f2 and 2f2 will be our image. Now what about the nature and size? The nature is nothing but real and inverted, and size is diminished. Second case. See the third case. Here where are we going to place the object? At 2f1 we shall place it. At 2f1. So take two rays, one ray parallel to the principal axis, let it be, and another ray let it be passing through the focus. The one parallel to principal axis after refraction passes through the focus, and the one which is passing through the focus after refraction passes parallel to the principal axis. So here we will get the image formation. It will be correct and crisp if the measurements, that is the distances between f1 and O, 2f1 and f1 are taken same using the scale. But since I am drawing it on the board, I may not be getting it as such. Therefore, I am just adjusting the figure. So see where the image formation is at 2f2. So in the case of concave mirror, what had happened? When the object was placed at the center of curvature, image was obtained at the center of curvature. Similarly here also, at one center of curvature if you are placing the object, at the other center of curvature we are getting the image. So here at 2f1 object is placed, image is at 2f2. What about the nature? Real and inverted. And what about the size? It is same size as that of the object. Now the fourth case. Let us place the object between f1 and 2f1. And let us consider two rays. The first one is parallel to the principal axis. Second one is incident at the optical center. This one passes through the principal focus and this one passes undeviated. So where is the image formation located? It is located beyond 2f2. Isn't it? So how can we denote it? The object is placed between f1 and 2f1. Now, where is the image formed? Beyond 2f2. Beyond 2f2. Then, what about its nature? Real and inverted image and is magnified. The size is small as compared to the size of the object. So, let us see the fifth case. So here, where shall we place the object? At f1. The object I have placed at f1, two rays. First one, let it be parallel to the principal axis, and the second one, let it pass through the optic center. So the refracted rays are parallel here. That means they meet at infinity and the image formation takes place at infinity. So where are we placing the object at f1, image is formed at infinity, the nature is real and inverted, and the size will be extremely magnified in size. Now see the sixth and the exceptional case. Where are we placing the object here? Very close to the lens. Where shall it be? Between f1 and O. Or we can say between f1 and the lens. Lens means optic center. Between f1 and O I have placed the object. Let it be a little bit smaller. Okay, so first ray let it be parallel to the principal axis, and the second ray let it pass through the optic center. This one after refraction passes through f2, and this one passes undeviated. So these two rays are not likely to meet on the other side of the lens, so therefore let us extend it on this side itself. So where are we getting the image formation? On the same side of the lens as the object. So that means the object is placed between f1 and O. The image is formed on the same side of the object. Now what about the nature? Virtual and erect. The size is magnified. This is how image formation is taking place in the case of a convex lens. I know the board is a little bit crowded, but please do adjust because I thought that all these diagrams could be shown on a single screen so that a comparison can be made. So here let us conclude it. At infinity it will be at f2. At f1 then it will be at infinity. Beyond 2f1 between f2 and 2f2. Between f1 and 2f1 beyond 2f2. Similarly you can compare it with the concave mirror. Same conditions, but the thing is here there are two foci as well as two centers of curvature. You should not get confused. So here at 2f1, at 2f1, same size. And here the exceptional one is when it is placed between f and O, same side, we are getting a magnified virtual erect object. Image. So these are the 6 cases. Now let us discuss same image formation by concave lens. Here 2 concave lenses are on the board. So 2 positions of the object will be taken into consideration for locating the image formation. In the first case, let us place the object at infinity and let us bring 2 rays from infinity which are parallel to the principal axis. Since concave lens is a diverging lens, the rays of light diverges. And these divergent rays of light, refracted diverged rays of light, on extending backwards, it meet at the principal focus. Hence, the image formation is at the focus, which is on the same side of the object. What about the nature? It is virtual and erect. And the size is extremely diminished. Now in the second case, let us place our object at a finite distance from the lens. A finite distance. Let me place the object between 2f1 and f1. At any place we can place at a finite distance from the lens. So let me consider 2 rays. First one, let it be parallel to the principal axis. After refraction, it diverges, and the diverged ray on extension meet at the focus. Second one, let it be incident at the optic center which passes undeviated. Now on these rays meet at this point, and here we can get the image formation. The image is diminished as compared to the object. So the image formation is between f1 and O. That also in the same side of the object as the lens. On the same side of lens as the object. So here what about the nature, which is virtual and erect? and the image is diminished as compared to the object. So these are the characteristic features of the image formation by a concave lens. So let me wind up the module over here. In the next module, we shall be discussing about lens formula and magnification. So, and the related numericals also shall be discussed in the upcoming video, which is the last video of this chapter, light reflection and refraction. So if you liked this video, please do click the like button. Also subscribe our channel for getting the notification. So thank you all for listening to me patiently. Thank you.